distant from
from the point of interest.
yeah, so the voices we're not talking over each other.
So, welcome to the Psychedelic Diaries.
Silly Sidon.
It's a two-part series that we're going to do talking about our experiences on shrooms and LSD. This first part is mine, Cam's, and Chris's experiences on... Me and Cam took shrooms, and Chris took LSD. So where do we even start?
At the point where we all took it?
Well, you took it
I
separate.
took it later.
Because me and Cam, when we were shooting off the fireworks, we took the shrooms.
At the same time. For context, it was on the 4th of July. That's why we had fireworks.
Yeah. And this is also like 15 days recorded after, so it's gonna be hard to remember some things. So we took, remember we took 3 shrooms, right? And we're like...
4?
You guys
I
took
don't
4.
remember.
No, you guys took 4
It was
each.
four.
Yeah,
It was
4
four.
each total.
And then we were like, save.
Save the last one just in case we need it for later.
Yeah.
And then we weren't feeling like anything for a while, right? Would you say? It just kind of felt like I was high, kind of.
Yeah.
It just felt like a normal high feeling.
I just felt euphoric in a
Yeah.
way.
And then finally you were like, fuck it, give me the 5th mushroom.
Hey, well, you had both your hands out like the red and blue pill from the fucking Matrix, right? And I took one, and I ate it, and you didn't eat yours. So for like an hour after that.
My sister told me before shrooms, she texted me, she's like, you don't want to take too many. My friend just took it, he had an awful trip. I was like, well, I don't want to die. So let me not try to kill me and one of my best friends. Like, let's not.
Well, I knew there was supposed to be visual, right? And
yeah,
I didn't get any visual until I ate the 5th one.
Yeah, I didn't get it until I had the 5th one too.
Were you guys like feeling anything when you just ate the
I felt
3?
I definitely felt
euphoric.
different.
Yeah,
Definitely felt different.
What did they taste like?
They were kind of like
earthy,
dirty, not really bitter in a way, but
Just imagine
you can put them
eating
on
grass.
pizza. You can put them on pizza for sure.
Yeah, they
That's all
weren't
I'm
bad.
saying.
So when did you take LSD?
I took it when basically Ben and Mike took it. Because then you and Ryan...
Yeah, we took ours like right when we got
Would
them.
you say like 9 o'clock?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was definitely after the fireworks. I was at the point where we were shooting Roman candles at each other. That's when I think I dropped it.
Yeah, I think that is when.
Yeah.
Because didn't you guys drop it at the whatever? So you dropped the LSD, right?
Yeah.
How long do you think it took for you to start actually feeling something? Like, how was the first like hour of it?
We took our shrooms at around 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, yeah.
I didn't feel anything for at least an hour.
Yeah.
And when did you
takes a
take it?
while.
Like 10?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah,
10?
Probably
definitely
not. I'd say
10.
9 to be honest.
Yeah, it was early.
9? So
9:30.
we were like already an hour deep into shrooms, but we didn't take that 5th one yet.
Yeah.
And then, so we shoot off all the fireworks. We're still like...
Well, I
Oh,
ate my 5th one.
you ate your 5th, so you're actually still...
Yeah.
You're seeing the...
Well, I got visual right when fuck, it's kind of hard to remember. I think it was right before the Roman candle thing.
Yeah, when you were standing away, remember?
Yeah,
You
I
and
was
Ben?
like, when was that though? Like, where were we at in the fireworks? It was before
was
Roman
at-
candles.
No, it was literally, we shot off every single firework, and all we had was the Roman candles left. It was
And the
firecrackers.
firecrackers. And the
Oh, yeah.
firecrackers, yeah.
So this is
For-
like the last
that wasn't
hour.
a good mix, honestly. That was like sensory overload for me. That's why I had to like go stand.
But once I had my 5th, the exact same when we were
You felt it too,
Oh
yeah,
my
right.
god, yeah. When we'll talk about later. Whatever.
Yeah.
But so the first hour when you took it, what were you feeling? Like, did you have anything?
I didn't feel anything. I just felt like very social. But
Just kinda
besides
high.
that, yeah, I just kind of felt high, to be honest. It didn't really start kicking in until we all started like leaving that area. Like when we started walking away.
Yeah,
That's
it
when
seems
it like started kicking
the
in.
stories didn't really like, or the drug didn't really kick in until we left
Yeah.
the fireworks show. I feel like it was when we started that walk. I had my
Not
5th.
for me because I was seeing visual during the firework, obviously. And I don't know. When I was seeing those visuals, and it was like, for context, the visuals, it made everything seem almost holographic. Like you're holding one of those, like baseball cards where you like you're moving it and you see the image move.
Yeah.
Kinda. That's what everything pretty much looked like. That was the visual. But so it's dark out and we're in the field. So I think just that setting for me, it kind of made me feel, I don't know, vulnerable in a way. Just that like physical setting we were in, and I had like the urge. I didn't feel sad, but I had the urge to cry. That's why I stood away from everybody. I was like, I want to go do something else now. And I was like, I mean, I just want to go for a walk, and then we did, and we got to like that trench.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we had to
we
jump
hopped
that
over.
fucking
We did trench, yeah.
Yeah,
That's when the visuals were like, that's when I like accepted it in a way. That's why it wasn't like overwhelming anymore for me. And we were like walking down the sidewalk, and I was just like, I was kind of cool with it. I was just kind of experiencing it in that moment. I wasn't really in deep thought yet.
Yeah.
So
Because I took my 5th shroom right when we were about to leave.
yeah.
So, like, I didn't really get the hug. I was on the same level as you until I had that 5th one.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that till it was me and you walking side by side, and there was 2 conversations happening behind us and in front of us. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And then there was these cars, and it's like, the cars felt just like negative energy.
Yeah, the cars were really intimidating.
It felt so
Cars
weird.
were really intimidating.
Like, just
yeah.
imagine, like, it just felt like a predator, like,
Yeah,
prey.
like a predator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it just felt like,
Especially
I
when
can get fucked up by this.
That's
remember,
so weird.
remember
Yeah.
when we were crossing that big intersection? All the cars were like lined up.
Mhm.
And it
And the
felt like
headlights?
it felt like they were looking at us. Like the cars were like staring us down.
It was weird.
Strange. It was really strange. We weren't really talking about shit, really. We didn't
No,
really.
we just
weren't
sat
talking
there.
about shit.
We just
were
looked at each other and we were like, we're
Yeah.
witnessing like the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
We're feeling the same thing.
And I was just like trying to calm myself because like, oh yeah, Dan's feeling the same way I am.
Yeah.
So, like,
because we didn't really have to say anything. We
but
just
we understood
knew.
what
Yeah.
we were saying. It was strange.
But what were you going through during that time when we were just on that walk?
When us 3 were together, remember?
I was definitely like I was definitely feeling it for sure because I could not stop smiling for some reason. Like my face was in pain from smiling. I don't know why. And
Was
it's
it,
just like I had a lot of energy. It was weird.
was it you or Ben that said you saw our faces melting? Was that Ben?
That was I think that might have been both.
Ben
of
also
us.
said that.
'Cause I
Yeah.
remember because I was just like eavesdropping on your guys' conversations, and I just remember like hearing you and Ben talk. You're like, "Yeah, I can see your face melting."
Oh yeah,
right
Ben
now.
Ben was saying that to me. I was like, already?
Yeah,
I wasn't seeing any of that yet. It
Yeah,
didn't.
Ben seemed
he was
to
very-
Ben seemed to like
It hit
feel
right
the
away
effects
for him.
pretty instantly
Yeah.
for him. That was pretty crazy.
And then we keep walking, right? We're walking for a while. There's not really much conversation between us.
There's
two.
no conversation because we're right next to like a really busy street and there's not really much sidewalk for like most of the walk.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just like focusing on
Just, like-
walking and like just getting somewhere.
Yeah, you actually feel. I literally felt like anxious walking around the
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Like, I just wanted to get out of
to
the
get
busy
out of it.
street.
It was really sensory overload that whole walk.
Not until
I
we
couldn't
got.
just focus on anything.
It was when we started. When did we separate?
I think it was we got on. It was near the high school, not near it, but like on that. What's the street? Off Meadow, you go right. If you're coming Meadow this way,
It was like the first
Meadow
street
goes,
that didn't
you go
have
right.
anyone. I just remember it was the first like empty street that we all split
Oh,
off
no.
from each other.
either way, like when we were near the high school and it was just us 3.
Mhm.
That's when I was like,
That's when I really started.
I
it
started
kicked
to get
in.
into my own mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Because
free.
we all split off. There was 6, 7, 8 of us. Is there 8 of us?
Yeah, it was close to that.
I think it was 7 because
7?
Pete left.
Oh yeah, so there was 7 of us, and it was the weirdest thing ever. We all split off into our separate pairs. So it was me, Cam, Chris, and then Kyle, Ryan, Mike, and Ben. They all went their separate ways, and they each had their different experiences on the drug. But me, Cam, and Chris stuck together for pretty much most of the night.
Yeah.
We ended up splitting off from the group, and we ended up going to this bench right outside of our high school field.
We were gonna go onto the football field, but there was
Yeah.
people there, and it was 4th of July, and everybody's just running around. It was goofy.
Yeah, because we were trying to like this experience.
We
the
wanted
drug.
to literally sit on the turf.
Yeah.
We wanted to lay on.
We
the
wanted
turf.
to go barefoot and walk around
On
and
the
like,
turf,
feel
yeah.
the turf on our toes.
So you didn't ever go into the field?
We did.
We
later.
did.
yeah,
We did later.
But,
yeah.
but we had to wait for these kids to leave because they were like, "Yo, slide!" I'm like, "Not.
Yeah.
I'm not on the same energy as you right now. Like, not right now."
Yeah, we said it was just like in
was
the
a soccer
fields.
field.
Remember when we walked into it was like because they're paving that new area
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
that field and how flat everything was. It literally looked like
Oh,
a
yeah.
Minecraft super
It's fucking weird.
It's so hard to describe how flat it was.
And it felt like it never ended.
It felt so unnatural. It
It
was
was
so,
so
weird.
weird.
It was so weird.
And we finally get to this random bench in the soccer field.
Middle of the field. It's just dark as fuck.
And there's like just one light shining on this bench with a fat ass tire.
Yeah.
And that's when we started actually getting into talk about our perspective while on the drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we started talking about,
Ecosystem.
yeah, the drug kind of let us step out of our own shoes and like see from like a third person perspective.
Yeah. It was more of like like a perspective grounded in reality in a way.
You were seeing from the outside in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're kind of talking about how it's like that internet shit, right?
Oh, it's a very.
We're talking about Instagram, that kind of like positive feedback loop where it feeds off itself,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like it's causing that animosity and how it's polarizing just people in general because everybody's following it and everybody's so into it at all times.
It's a divider.
Yeah, yeah,
Because at the same point, it brings everyone together. The part that feels left out gets so divided that doesn't feel included into that. Just almost like it's almost like a hive mind that is Instagram.
because
no one has individuality.
that social
in
media
Instagram.
plays into like I don't even what would you call it, your dopamine in a way. It plays
Yeah,
into your
'cause, yeah.
mind
Mhm.
because humans at like a base level they want to be accepted by each other because in a group you're more likely to survive at the very base
Yeah.
level in nature, right? So it's like when you're getting that constant like
The
acceptance
loop.
from everybody,
Mhm.
you're getting likes, you're getting all this shit. It's like you're constantly feeding into that, and it feeds off itself
Yeah.
because of that like I guess that anonymity in a way. Like you're anonymous at all times,
Mhm.
and you can portray your ideal self in a way.
The Instagram point I was gonna say is like, I just feel it's a very. I agree that. Like you follow the hive mind kind of because you know that's what's gonna give you the likes and comments. Because if you were to go against it, like everything on
not
Instagram, it
accepted.
says they would
It's
just
because-
shoo you away.
I feel like what you guys are trying to say is that people need this sort of gratification for anything
Acceptance.
they do. And they know that if they try to go against the grain, they're not going to get that. So then,
Yeah,
Even just posting what you want sometimes doesn't feel like you're not getting likes on the shit that you post that you want to post, and it's just like
yeah.
doesn't feel your own.
And that acceptance feels good, so it's feeding off itself. So when you keep getting it, you want more.
We almost said we related it to like a treadmill. It's like
Yeah.
you're on this constant loop where everyone's on this treadmill and it never stops. It
Mhm.
never stops going. And it was almost like we were on that treadmill and taking the drug finally let us step off and see, like, look at everyone that's on it.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. What the fuck?
it's kind of like you're just living. People are just living in it. We were like, because it's hard for people to step back and accept that real base reality, that simple kind of, I don't even know. I don't know how to say it without saying cheesy, but like that kind of acceptance of nature in a way.
Mm.
That's kind of just as simple as I can put it, but like it's kind of hard to come off and accept that, and most people don't really accept it.
Mhm.
it's because I feel like it's because they try to put themselves on like a sort of pedestal above nature because
Like
we're
they don't
so
need it.
we're so removed from it that we're not used to actually accepting the fact that we are still, a big
Organisms.
organisms.
Animals.
We are still
Yeah.
in the animal kingdom. We're
Yeah.
not some separate fucking thing. Like,
Literally, yeah.
but because we've sort of advanced so much, people have put ourselves on this pedestal.
We're pretty much just
The
everybody's living daily on the internet, pretty much.
Right. And we are, when you're talking about how you could see how you're looking from the outside in, that's exactly what the internet does too, because
Yeah.
that's just that on a larger scale, because most of the shit you see on the internet, you're not experiencing it like throughout,
Really, yeah.
actual experiences.
People just post just to seem like they're having a fun time, but not actually not living it. You
Right,
know what I mean?
Because
they
it's not,
post-
It's not
they-
really them.
Yeah, I stopped posting. I stopped even fucking taking pictures of anything that I do.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you've been through it when people are like, do something stupid for my Snapchat.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like, what
I don't
is
want to name
this?
names, but
But it's just like it's kind of pathetic. Like,
yeah.
why
it's
isn't
like,
it
why
not
am I doing
coming-
it for the Snapchat?
Why am I not doing it just to be funny? Why am I not just doing it naturally?
Yeah.
It should come naturally. Not
Yeah, why
forced
do
on
I have to
Snapchat.
feign this emotion of me being goofy
Yeah,
when I'm
right.
just goofy?
Why-
Right.
Why are
It's like if you
sh-
didn't catch it on camera, that sucks for you. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it
That
just
was
so you can
funny
post
when
about
that
it.
happened.
That was ridiculous when you told me
Yeah.
about that.
At least he doesn't do it anymore, but
Yeah. And then we started talking about after the talk about seeing kind of a third person perspective on life, we kind of started talking about how simple life is, and how since we were born we keep adding layers that are so unnecessary, and life is so fucking simple.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane how simple it is.
It's that society we're living in where it has to be complex because of how complex our society is rapidly evolving in terms of technology in a way.
But just think about, like, talking to a human, like how nervous
You always
people are
Yeah.
to talk to a human.
Yeah.
People don't realize that the other side has emotions as well.
Yeah.
The other side that you're talking to, the other person you're talking to, you know, whether it be an adult, a fucking infant, a teenager, whatever, they are still, like, feeling whenever you're talking
Right.
to them.
Because
And
when-
once you can get past that and you can realize that, talking to people and just, like, living is so easy.
Yeah.
Because people don't give a shit.
It's hard because when you're online, you're constantly doing it without that face-to-face interaction, so it's harder to even comprehend that for most people.
Right, and
And that's
you
where it
need that
develops.
face-to-face
Well, yeah.
interaction.
Internet's also just an echo chamber. You only hear what you want to see.
Yeah.
Your page is literally designed for you.
Yeah.
Everything is for you on the internet, so whatever you say, it's gonna get positive reaction because you've literally customly designed the people you follow.
Yeah.
So you will never get a negative reaction if you
Yeah.
surround yourself with people that think the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll always be looking for what makes your argument valid rather than what puts cracks in your argument.
Yeah.
And you
like,
really
reaching
need
that consensus
Right.
is more valuable
You-
than just feeding off your own argument.
right, you really need to look out and see like people who argue against you, you need to look for that and see why they argue against you and why they feel this way, and then you need to compare that to your argument and like make it stronger and shit.
Exactly,
And
because it only makes your side
Yeah,
stronger.
And I think that's where the people take, like, people in general kind of, I don't know, maybe this is like that more left side kind of thing. They're usually taking offense with kind of shit like that because when you're online, you just like you said, you're only seeing shit that you want to see, and you're interacting with people that obviously agree with your ideal in a way.
It's
So when
just-
people
yeah.
come up to like an opposition in a way, they don't know really how to
how to
react.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always negative. Like
Yeah.
they're always calling you names. Like
Yeah.
they literally like, oh, you're a this, you're a that.
They're
And
never willing to look
It's
and
not
say.
an argument.
Yeah,
It's
and
hard
once
for them
you-
to look at
conversation.
themselves.
And once you like call people out on that, it's so satisfying when you
Yeah.
are able to realize that because they are just calling you names and not bringing up factual of evidence or any evidence at all, you've won the argument because they have
Yeah.
nothing else to say.
And they don't want to like accept that in a
it,
way.
yeah.
And they'll go to other people that say, "Don't worry, you're right.
Yes.
You're fine the way you are."
Yeah, they'll
And-
come back home and lick
Yeah.
their wounds and then just be a
Exactly. Yeah.
fucking idiot again.
Yeah.
So we could have sort of strayed off the path there a little
Yeah,
bit,
so
but
But that's kind of where we were.
That's where we were
on the
I think that
bench,
kind of
yeah.
summed up.
yeah, that was like the whole summation of just the mindset.
That's kind of what
that
we were
night.
talking about when we got there. Yeah.
Did we go into the simple thing at all? I mean, it's kind of it's
Just
simple.
that simple
yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
That's just and being able to apply it to life. I think
After
it was
the
the
fact.
biggest thing with shrooms, and I think LSD too, is just realizing no one gives a shit about you
Because
really.
they're more worried about themselves.
Really, you're just worried about themselves.
That's why I always say, like, you got to focus on, a lot of the times, like, self-preservation as your number one priority. Because, I mean, I get, like, you know, reaching out, talking to people, obviously, but, like, as long as you have a good self, everyone else is focusing on the same thing. So, like, I don't even know how to put this into words, but you can't have a castle built on quicksand, is pretty much what I'm saying. Because if you don't have a strong self-foundation, then everything you've built on top of that, no matter, like, even what you're saying, like stripping away the layers of life, you know, realizing that people don't give a shit, it's just gonna sink once you face hardships in your life.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
So
boys?
back to shrooms.
had
What
no
did we do
idea
after
you
that?
guys
We
were
met
on
up
this
with
After
Bennett
lunch-
Mike came to the football field.
Wait,
Yeah.
we didn't really get into like you were thinking the exact same thing we were, right?
I had no idea you guys were on this level. Like, I don't remember any of this.
I just remember him sitting there and saying that he like couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, I was just going, like, my body was just going through
'Cause you
so
were-
many feelings.
When we were laying on the one bench, or you were laying on the bench
Yeah.
at one point, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when we were talking about it, obviously. So you must not have been.
Yeah,
paying
I was
attention.
so out of it at that
But
point.
we also remember we took off all our shoes and we're like, I want to walk barefoot.
Yeah,
we
we did.
walked,
We did walk barefoot.
We walked.
yeah.
We took off our shoes and walked barefoot through a soccer field.
Yeah.
And we ended up going to another bench, right? That was right in front of a fireworks show.
Oh,
And it
they
was
were like
we were-
throwing firecrackers.
Yeah, we were making fun of
Yeah.
them because how
They
shitty
had
they were.
shitty fireworks. Yeah.
They had really
Oh,
bad
that's when we were
fireworks.
like staring into each other's eyes for like minutes
Oh
straight.
my god. The craziest thing and the most like thing I can realize to a day-to-day basis, I can't stop looking into people's eyes.
Eye contact is
I-
crazier.
I
Like,
have to look into people's eyes
Yeah.
or it feels like I'm not paying attention or I'm
Yeah.
not in the conversation at all. which is
I just
weird.
felt so comfortable staring at like everybody in the face. It was
Everyone's
so weird.
eyes, just imagine they just like double the size.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably were.
Yeah.
Double the size.
It was wild. The feeling of just how good I felt staring into someone's eyes and talking to them. It was weird that day.
We had like that full conversation staring into each
in
other's,
each other's eyes,
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
close. It was really funny. And that's also when
The
I feel like
table
the
thing.
table thing.
Yeah.
Where I turned
Sort of
into a table.
stuff.
What table thing? Can you elaborate?
Oh, I just was in such an odd position. Imagine like the bridge. You know what I'm talking about? Like the
Oh, like the bending your back.
the bending your
bridge
back. I
thing?
was in like
Yeah.
a really weird like exorcist bridge type thing, and I was like, I feel like a fucking bridge, or not a bridge. I feel like a table right now.
That's creepy.
I felt so support. Like I literally felt like anything could have been on me, and I could
Yeah.
support it.
That's so funny. So then we met up with
Ben and
Ben
Mike
and
at
Mike.
the field.
at the football field. That's when we went onto the turf and sat on the turf.
Mm.
Oh, and that's when I like
You trip set.
Ben.
Ben,
Yeah, that was weird because he like didn't know what to do with himself for like I don't know.
He
just
was,
when
like,
we
in
saw
limbo.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, you reach a roadblock, I feel. Like 3/4 of the way through your trip, you reach just like a fat roadblock
Yeah.
where you just don't know what to do.
He wanted to
Well,
do
he's-
so much at once. I think he was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go do this, and then he'd stop, and I'm like,
You
I'm
need to
gonna go
break
do
it
this.
down.
Yeah.
I was doing that a lot too.
I was like, because
I
I had to
couldn't make
look
up
him
my
in the
mind.
eyes. I said, listen, I've experienced what you're experiencing before. Try sitting down, and he did, and he
So
like came down to
funny.
earth just for me doing that. And I don't know, that was
That was
crazy.
hilarious. When you sat him down, he was like,
He literally he kept going, whoa.
Oh, it was
whoa.
so
He
funny.
just kept saying, whoa. That was so funny.
That shit was hilarious.
Didn't Mike bring his
Oh,
bike onto the field?
Yeah, Mike throws his bike over the fence, right?
Yeah.
He gets into the field and he's just doing circles around us on his bike.
Because we're sitting
middle of the
like
in the
right in the
middle.
middle, like on the logo
Yeah,
Oh,
and
shit.
he's just doing 100 circles around us, fast as fuck.
for like 20 minutes.
It really
straight.
felt like it was wild. He was going so fast,
was-
but it felt like it was a part of his body.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Ryan and I are
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
get into because that shit was
It was so
insane.
weird watching him
Yeah.
do it too. It was
He did it
crazy.
so much that I like forgot what he was like without a bike. It was weird.
I mean,
Not to spoil anything. for
not
the
to
next-
spoil anything for the next episode, but
And then fuck. So then after that we get because this is when it just started going bad for you, right?
Yeah, this is when I split off from you guys, and I felt like I had to go home, and I have no idea why. I just had to go back to my girlfriend's house, and that's when it just started.
because
getting
you had your headphones on at this
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah,
And you were listening to music.
yeah,
You got into your own head, I feel like.
yeah. I definitely got
Yeah,
into
you
my own head.
isolated yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful.
Because it was weird. When you went away and me and Cam started thinking back, like
That was the
on
exact moment.
on the stages, we're like, wow, we literally know the exact moment of when his trip started going bad. It's when you stopped talking and you just went into your own head,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird.
because at first when I started like experiencing like the feeling of the drugs and shit, it's just I wasn't really thinking about that
Mhm.
until like we started walking back. I don't even, where were we even going at that point?
I don't know. I think
I
we're
think
just
we're just
walking.
walking,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're just walking
Yeah.
wherever.
And then like you guys came out of nowhere
Yeah.
with food.
on the
Oh,
With food.
shit.
dude, you can give little ad libs, but
you guys were like mailmen. You guys
Yeah.
would come by.
We were like fairies.
You guys would be like, hello, and then you
And
just
then
like,
right
disappear.
We kept talking about Ryan because
Ryan.
Ryan kept coming just literally out of nowhere. You'd say like
Once
3
I-
words and then
Yeah.
you disappeared for like another hour.
It was so fucking funny.
Like initially, like when I was on the bike and just like I couldn't stay in the pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Especially
had
with-
to branch off.
Yeah, well, I was at least just like moving so much faster. Just
Yeah.
the pedaling made
Yeah,
me
because
like,
we could not, like, because you two were walking,
Yeah, we
so
had
we
to
couldn't.
walk, yeah.
We had our bikes, and we just got to get
Yeah, I
into
think
this.
you just, you just said it. Yeah.
It's a little striptease.
We leave the field after you just trips at Ben.
Because we were just like, you want to go on a walk?
Yeah.
And we were like,
And
yeah.
then Chris goes off because he's just starting having a bad trip and he's like, I'm about to leave. Because it's when we're walking down the path and it's when we just see them
Yeah.
and you say, oh, I think I'm just going to go home, right?
Yeah.
And that's when it's just you, me, Ben, Mike.
I was so in like, just like that, do whatever you want to do thing that I didn't even question it.
Yes, when Chris
Until
was
later.
just like, I
like
want
in
to
the
go.
moment, I didn't realize it.
How did we even find out you were having a bad trip? Did you call someone?
Yeah, you called me.
I called people a lot.
What was
that
your
way.
walk like by yourself to your girlfriend's house?
It was really quick. I texted her and she met up with me because I was
Oh,
like
really?
I was like I'm tripping out right now and you need to like meet
How-
up with me and like just cope me. And it's like when I was walking with her, I was holding her hand and at one point I literally just felt like I was carrying an arm. Like I didn't feel like she was there.
Just an
That's
arm.
crazy.
When I was
So
like
Walking
it was
Dead
insane.
shit?
Yeah, it was. That's when it started getting really
Real bad?
Yeah, because then it's like I got inside, I'd lay down for a few minutes, and then I would close my eyes, and I just could not open them. And I felt like I was in like a whole nother universe at that point. Shit was crazy.
You were on something else.
Like I didn't feel like I was
Holy
in my own
shit.
like body. Like I would like move my arms, there'd be like delay movements and shit. It's like I was questioning like my existence, like
Yeah,
reality
totally.
shit. It was so bad.
I feel like that's
fucking
definitely
wild.
one of the parts where like if you take this shit, you definitely have to take it with somebody because
Yeah.
like you were saying, you're like questioning reality, and even if you just have like someone to just be like talking to,
to ground you.
yeah, then
In reality.
you'll be fine. But
It was hard talking to my girlfriend because she
wasn't
wasn't
on
like
the-
on. She was not on the same level as me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
we
that's-
weren't doing
she probably
full
thought you
sentences.
sounded
Yeah.
like a crazy person.
Yeah, we were literally just
Yeah.
understanding what we were
Yeah.
saying. Just like,
We would be
I
like,
don't know,
it was
so
literally
strange.
like gibberish. I'm like, but you know what I mean.
yeah, and I did.
Yeah,
it
we
was strange.
completely knew exactly what we were saying, and we didn't have to finish a sentence. It was odd.
Yeah.
That's why the premise of a trip sitter kind of like it doesn't really work out in a sense. If you have a sober person just like looking you dead in the eyes and being like, you're okay, you're in the real world, like it's your
This
perception is
kills your
so
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like it's not saying anything. It's like telling a kid to calm down. Like
Yeah.
it's really not doing anything.
Yeah.
I think it would help if you're by someone that's done the drug before.
Yeah,
To be able to
experience.
Yeah, they
relate.
would have had to experience it before at least.
Like your
'Cause
girlfriend would
it
be
must have been
fucking
so hard
clueless.
for your
Yeah,
girlfriend
that's
to
why-
try to relate.
Yeah.
she was telling me how I was like panting,
Oh, really?
like my breathing. Like she thought I wasn't breathing at one point.
Yeah, she's probably terrified.
Yeah,
but-
she
that
was.
must have been fucking scary for you.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I felt bad for putting her through that.
I mean, what can you do?
She definitely it helped though. It
one
definitely
for the
helped.
book.
Now
We
she's got to
walked
take
to
the drug.
canal, though.
Well, so at
Yeah,
this
what
point,
did you guys do when
at
I left?
this
This is
point-
when we talked about living uncomfortably.
yeah, it's you, me, Mike,
When we were
Ben.
by the middle school.
Yeah, we're just walking to the canal, all
Yeah.
the four of us. Mike was like doing his own thing, and Ben was just like kind of like sitting behind us, like listening to our conversation.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, he would come in and be like, "I gotta get
And
on
he'd
this."
be like, Whoa.
It's so funny.
It's so funny.
But that's when we started talking about living uncomfortable. We're
Yeah.
like the
And how
only-
complacent like
how
people are in
complacent.
daily life in America at least. And
That,
how
like the only way to grow is to be uncomfortable. You need to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
yeah,
That's the only way to really like to grow as a person, if you think about
because
it.
it only serves to benefit you
Mhm.
day by day. If you're living that every day and you try to be better than yourself the next day, you have to beat yourself, right? Because your biggest enemy is yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
So when you're beating yourself every day, it only serves to benefit you, and that's where living uncomfortably kind of spurred from, right? I think that's how we started
That
talking
is how
about
we
it,
started
right?
talking about it.
Yeah.
And then we also started talking about the mindset. you remember the
Which one?
mindset? We were just talking about like everything's a mindset,
Yeah.
and we were just
Yeah.
like, it got a little
It
carried
was
away.
that's
at
because we were
some-
talking about
some
that
point,
mental
but-
barrier.
Yeah.
That mental barrier you're putting on yourself at all times.
Oh yeah, and this is where
It's kind of like that mental slavery.
we started
kind
doing
of thing.
analogies, and this is where you can really do whatever you want.
It's like a
Yeah.
ghost.
You can really do whatever you want, and it's almost like the fence thing.
There is a barrier there. It's about getting over it, but it's your mentality that makes it higher than it has to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just honestly any fence you could really jump, but it's just the mental barrier that you put in front of it
Yeah.
that makes it 10 times bigger
Yeah.
than it actually is. And this is when it started getting kind of sad. Is when we met up with when we got to the canal, and we met
saw
up with the other people.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of people like. There's like a group of people just shouting across the canal, and we were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, they're drunk or some
Mhm.
shit." Yeah.
When we ended up
On the other side.
we ended up meeting with them, and we started talking to him, and it was another kid that same age as us. He also was first time on shrooms, I think,
Yeah.
and it was this 30-year-old dude that was just drunk off his ass. I've
He
seen
could have
him
been on something else as well. I don't
most
even know.
likely, but I know I've seen him before, and he's just drunk all the time.
Oh, really?
It's kind of fucking sad. But this kid was so intelligent, and just to see him hanging
And we
out
were
with this
connecting
guy
with him
a
like,
lot.
We were saying the same shit we were saying with each other,
Yeah.
and he was like
Fully
conveying that
interpreting.
before we even said it to
Mhm.
him. It was weird.
It was really weird.
You sound about how he did LSD like 6 times, something like that.
He did a 50.
Did he say 50 or did he say 6?
50. He did else because me and Mike saw him later that night when I don't know why we split off, but we saw him later and we just had like a one-on-one with him.
Oh, really?
And it started to get kind of sad.
Really?
Because it's
Yeah.
just like it sounded like he has so much potential, and he fucking loves people so much. Just
Yeah.
to see him kind of I don't want to say it, but it seemed like he was kind of throwing it away.
Yeah.
I felt like he could have been doing so much more with his life than just hanging out with some random 40-year-old that was drunk.
That's just drunk. Yeah.
I mean, that's like everybody though, because they don't like that guy. You guys are saying like, oh, he was like so intelligent, he could have been doing more. But again, like the mental barrier, he's in his own mind, and he does not realize that.
Yeah.
100%, he does not realize that he could be doing better.
Yeah.
It just sucks to see someone that he's so bright just to be hanging out.
Yeah. The
with.
kid was 17, right?
He was really
And he's done
17.
LSD 50 times. That's
He-
pretty wild.
He literally seemed like he was like a 30-year-old man
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah.
Like he literally seemed like mentally he could have been our dads. Like that's how
Really? Yeah.
like everything we were saying to him, he was like, "Yeah, I fully understand what you're saying,
Mhm.
and this is how I'm gonna make your trip better." Kind of. He would tell us like little tidbits that he's like gained from his other experiences and try to
Yeah.
give it to us.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. He also does like poetry.
Really?
He does yeah,
That's cool.
music. Like the guy was pretty dope. But then he started talking about you need to get what you can out of drugs and get out.
Yeah.
That was his big takeaway is don't get trapped.
Yeah.
Because he started saying I'm not an asshead, but he's taken LSD 50 times.
Yeah.
So you're obviously somewhat in the world and you
Yeah.
keep taking it.
Yeah.
It's rough. Almost made me want to cry when you said I'm not an acid head, but I've taken it.
I've done it 50 times.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like-
That's rough.
You need to get real with yourself.
So then we were like sitting at the canal when we met him, and then you left, and then that's when you called me about your bad trip, because we were at the canal still when you called.
Was it the first time I got a hold of someone about it?
Yeah,
I think so.
and because it was me, you, Mike,
Me, you,
and
Mike,
Ben,
and Ben.
and then I was just like,
Go.
because
go-
Mike
go
and
to
Ben had their
Chris.
bikes, just go get to Chris, and because we had to walk, obviously.
And and then after we sent them off, that's when we met you two.
Yeah,
dude.
and we had
on
to
the
follow
bridge?
your voice. We had
On
to
the
follow your
bridge?
voice to
So,
find you.
my
yeah.
That's
God.
funny.
It's just
We
so
can
funny.
talk about our perspective in our episode, but
Yeah.
you guys can talk about yours.
So,
Did
we get a phone call?
I don't know. Did we call
Yeah,
them
we
or
No,
called
you
you.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called
Okay.
me, and you're just like, you just said scream, and I was like, okay, and I just started. I was like, like screaming like a
Don't we,
fucking
like-
idiot.
Like you're in danger or
yeah,
something.
I was like screaming, and you're like, I think I hear you, and then I'm like, and then I started hearing you because then I tell you to scream or something like that.
I think you just heard me on the phone talking.
No,
we
because
did
you were
tell
right
we,
under
we,
us.
told- we asked them to call back. Yeah, because we were on top of a bridge and you guys were like
We're
on
below
right
the
below
bridge.
us. 'Cause
Literally
I
right
definitely started
below it.
hearing your voices while I was on the phone.
Yeah, no, we said the same thing. We were like, "Oh, we hear somebody up on the bridge.
Yeah.
I wonder who that is." And I was like, don't worry about it. You don't want to know."
It turns out to be these two goobers.
Yeah.
And we were like,
So
oh, it is
funny.
them. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
So we go down the stairs, and they're not there. And we hear them call again, and we're like, well, what the
Where-
fuck?
where
And
are
then
you?
so there was like, for picture's sake, there's like water down under the bridge,
The
and then
canal.
there's the canal under the bridge. The bridge goes over it, obviously, and then Dan and Cam are on top of the bridge, and we're like on this like dock, not like a dock, but like a boat dock, I guess, where you can park
Vending
boats.
machine, were you? Is that
Well,
what-
yeah, there's a vending
like
machine,
Yeah,
but
but
like
we were sitting next.
yeah,
to
we're
it.
sitting next to it on the water, sort of. And so there's like a staircase, but it's covered in like plants and like vines and shit, so you can't see down. So they go down the staircase, and we bring our bikes around, like, and go up the
other
actual
side.
bridge.
Yeah.
So we just fucking essentially swapped places, and we were on the bridge,
And I
and then
just
they were
heard
at the
you
bottom.
screaming or just like talking the whole entire time, and I was just following your voice.
Yeah,
through
that's so
through
funny.
the
I was just like,
the
"Where are
thickets.
you guys?" And all I hear is just you guys talking. I'm like, "What the? Where
My
are
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That was so funny.
Then we finally met up. Then we go to Chris.
We're like,
Oh,
we
that's
have
when
to go to Chris.
that's when we were walking side by side, and we weren't connecting at all. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on like, you guys were on your own
Completely
wavelength,
different.
and we were on our own.
That's why we need to
It was
talk
weird.
about it.
Yeah.
When we were together, it was just like it felt uncomfortable because we've been on our own trip.
You've
the
just
whole
been
trip.
Yeah, because
alone.
we were just
so,
together,
yeah.
yeah.
And then, because like, at this point, we definitely weren't saying full sentences. When like me and you would talk to each other, but we would still get it.
Yeah.
But if we try to do it to you, it definitely would not.
It was just hard to convey
Yeah.
anything, really.
Because it takes time to like
Yeah.
actually
Because we weren't there
understand.
together to like.
I was gonna say the
experience
time
it.
gap. Like I hadn't
Yeah.
seen Cam throughout basically the entire night.
Yeah.
Maybe once before that. So meeting back up with him and he's all like basically towards the end of his trip. It's like
Yeah,
so
we were-
weird.
yeah.
So much different.
Especially on shrooms, because we were definitely like near the end at that point. 'Cause it was
Yeah.
like 2. I feel like that at that point, right?
Yeah, like when we were walking down Oliver, I was pretty confident at that point. Like I was like,
I still had like
I wasn't like normal, but I was definitely like
I had
not completely.
I feel like
under
I had
the
motor
influence.
functions
Yeah.
somewhat.
Yeah.
So
Then you guys split off
yeah, again.
again. Yeah, because then we tell you guys to
Go find
Go-
Mike
go-
and Ben.
Oh yeah,
get
because then we
Chris.
completely. Well, yeah, you just told it. I guess we'll get into it.
you guys go get, or we tell you to go get Chris, and we're just walking for a while, and then me and you are like, that felt really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
we
It was
talked
like
about
we
it
were
for a little
feeling
bit.
like an energy. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Like the whole entire time we were around you guys, it was just like, it didn't feel
Yeah.
right,
Mhm.
and we just kept walking. We finally met.
And we were just talking about Chris that whole time, pretty much. We were talking about like how
Oh
we
yeah,
just
that's when we talked about.
we were talking
when
about like
we were
that,
able to
that
see-
exact moment when he split off. Yeah.
And we were
Very
kind of
nice,
like how shitty we were as friends because we let him go by himself.
Yeah, but because it was kind of like we didn't know it in the
Yeah,
moment,
you
we
so
guys-
there
didn't
was
know,
nothing we
but it
could
was
have
just
done.
like it was a learning moment of not trying to do it again. You
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, I feel like you guys were talking about that, and then because like Ryan and I were on some like weird wavelength, I just kept.
You
I
just had
remember.
a different perception.
Yeah, I kept telling you guys like. I was like confused. I was like, why do you guys keep bringing this up? There's nothing you can do now. And I was like telling that, and then you guys like weren't
I'm just making my point.
understanding it. Yeah,
Well, I knew there was nothing we could do. I was just trying to convey that.
yeah.
And you
I was
didn't see
trying to
Chris,
convey that we were
That's true.
talking about it.
like the whole entire night. I don't think you saw
Yeah.
Chris like once, pretty
Yeah.
much until the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really until I got back to his girlfriend's house
Yeah.
and he came out. That was literally the first time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
During that whole time, you guys were walking down Oliver. I don't know if I called Ben or Ben called me, but Ben and Mike showed up to my girlfriend's house before any of you guys did.
Yeah, because we told him to go ahead
Yeah.
in front of us. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna walk around the block with them. My girlfriend was like, all right. So I get around the corner, and they're like, oh, you should just grab your bike. So I go back, get my bike. I walk with them. I go back to the house, put the bike back, and then I tell them that I'm gonna stay, even though they kept telling me to leave. Like I was so indecisive, I didn't understand it. I was so confused.
That's
And
weird.
then they left. I decided just to stay at my girlfriend's house. And then that's when I can't remember if I called someone else or I
I think you called me again when we were like right at your house.
Yeah, that was like a movie. Like when
Yeah.
I walked out and literally every single one of you were just standing there.
Yes.
Stranger
kinda funny.
Things.
I was like, what the
It was
fuck?
walking down the street with all of us back
Yeah.
together. It was not fun.
It did feel much nicer though to be back with everyone.
Because it definitely, like,
It's been a while.
it felt better to not be by yourself.
Yeah,
right?
It was
felt
just
a lot
overall,
better.
it was just a major bonding experience
Yeah.
between
pretty much.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you weren't there in that that 4th of July group, then you're definitely just something.
You're on the
you kinda
outside.
Like, it's like kind of like grew up.
Yeah,
in a way.
mentally.
It was weird.
Oh, at the end of the day, my fucking brain was so tired.
Yeah,
Like my body, I felt like I could run 5 more miles, but mentally I was just exhausted.
that's weird.
I felt like I was 40 years old.
Nah, I mean, I cannot say the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Me.
cannot
Yeah.
say the same either.
Really?
Fucking, I'm like
It
an
was the
old
exact
man trying to get my
opposite.
shower.
Yeah, I was actually.
Really?
My feet were sore the next day.
I literally slept for like 5 hours.
Well, keep
I
in
didn't
mind,
sleep at all.
Ryan and I were biking for like 8 hours.
Yeah, everybody,
straight.
Like the
everybody else was
entire trip.
completely more physical than we were the
That's
entire
true. We
time.
were just slowly walking around.
But so we get to Chris, and then we like walk, and I go to sleep. So what happened after that? After I go to my house and go to sleep, or I tried to go to sleep.
We just
Me and
walked down.
Kyle ended up just like Kyle wanted to go back home, and I decided to ride my bike with Kyle to his house, right? Because this is when the group is still just walking down like Payne
Oh,
after
yeah.
coming off Frederica.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I split off right after you do. After
Yeah,
you
'cause
I
left,
go to my
I
house.
split
Go home.
off too because I said I'm gonna go home.
Oh, okay.
But then you ended up biking, and then I was like, "Yo, wait, what's up? Are we still doing something?"
Yeah.
And then I ended up going. Did I walk to the canal by myself?
No,
No,
you
you
went
walked
with
with
us
us.
on our way back. Yeah, on my way
Yeah.
back from Kyle's house, I saw you. I said, "What's up?" I'm like, "Hey, did everybody go?" And then you're just like, "Yeah, I think so." And I head down a little bit more, and I find the rest of the goons that are still up. What's that? Mike, Ben, you, me, Chris.
Yeah.
Think that is the group,
Yeah.
and we all went to the canal to watch the sunrise.
My mindset when I split off, I felt like shit.
Mhm.
Like mentally, when I was just like walking around by myself, I almost started getting into my own head. I was like,
Yeah, it's
How's
weird
that?
because
because it was like I was on this like high like roller coaster, and then it's like, what's after this? Like we just
Yeah.
had this crazy ass day, and then just to go back to reality, it was just like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to go back?
you lose that like, you also, once you like lose your trip buddy, it's
did
like
feel
you
weird.
lose like your other half.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Not being able to talk to someone through that, I can't imagine what you had to go through.
Because
Yeah.
they understand just so much.
Yeah.
Alright, so you watched the sunrise and then you just went home and went to bed pretty much?
We ended up like talking for another
Yeah.
about
I didn't
hour.
talk.
So yeah, you were like just sitting there chilling.
I was just so tired.
Ben
That was the
was
point
still
where
on
Ben
his-
was just like an engine. He wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah, he was the
What
rambling
was he
man.
talking about?
I honestly, I mentally checked out where I was just like,
You know?
nothing's processing.
Stuff about like wanting to pursue music. Oh yeah, just talking about how like he was gonna take all his efforts and put it into his passion, which I'm pretty sure is just music, and just like trying to create the best that he can, because he saw the world through a new pair of glasses. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
wants to share his experiences with, whoever decides to listen. I guess
Yeah.
himself really is what it's for, is to make the stuff
Yeah.
that he enjoys that explains a lot about himself. So.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I don't
You were
know.
still going through it at that point.
Yeah, me and
right?
Chris were definitely on the very end, but I was still getting like
I was
visual
still seeing
effects.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Even when I went home, I was still seeing shit, but it was definitely not as bad. I felt normal, but my visuals were still kind of like fucked.
Well, you said you rode your bike around by
Oh, yeah.
yourself after, right?
When we all split off, I literally just went to the Spruce parking lot and rode in circles for like an hour.
What time was that?
It was like 6 in the morning. 6, 7 in the morning.
Did it not feel like just like a storybook?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the whole entire day felt
Oh,
so,
that's so
much
weird,
like a
'cause,
like,
storybook.
so
Just
surreal.
when we first ate the shrooms and we were gonna shoot out the fireworks, I kept saying, I feel like I'm in a story right now.
It's what it felt like the whole entire day. Like the weather was perfect. The lighting the whole entire
That
day
whole
was like
scenery,
dream setting.
because the whole
Yeah, it
city was, everybody's shooting off fireworks, so there's just
There's
smoke
smoke
covering. The lighting was crazy. It was
Yeah,
just
everyone
already
was
a
shooting
foggy
out
day.
fireworks, but it was also okay. Oh,
Alright.
there there she goes.
Our
So-
co-star Harley.
Yeah, but it was also everyone was shooting out fireworks. There's a lot of life, but it was also silent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
there
dead
there was a
silent.
lot and nothing going on at the
Yeah,
same
it was
time.
weird.
In our field, it was so we were so secluded. That
Yeah.
felt so weird.
I mean, that's pretty much it for us. Pretty much. I mean, do you have anything to add? I don't know. I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, I think that's it. I
So,
think that
uh,
wraps the first part of the
Yeah,
Psychedelic
that
Diaries.
wraps the part 1 of the psychedelic stories.
Silly Cybin.
Silly Cybin. The Laffy Taffy. So stay tuned for part 2 when we talk about Ryan and me, Kyle. I guess I don't know. Our experience.
On LSD.
So see ya.
Farewell.